Hello again. No time to rest here. We have been visiting the Indian ecosystem quite a number of times and been very impressed with what we have seen and the way fintech is really driving financial inclusion in India. So many great things happening, and now you will actually meet one of those happening right now at the moment. Sucharita is passionate about access to financial services for all. She believes in finance for freedom. Sucharita Mukherjee is also the co-founder and CEO of Kaleidofin. And in her role, she leads strategy and partnerships for Kaleidofin. Previously, Sucharita was an investment banker at Morgan Stanley and Deutsche Bank in London. We are really, really looking forward to your presentations and very honored to have you with us. So I'll leave the virtual stage to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me just begin by saying really thrilled to be here at the very exciting Copenhagen FinTech week. And let me just set myself up before I start. Confirming just that the screen is visible.
It is perfect. We can see your PowerPoint or your PDF.
Okay, great. Excellent. So thank you for inviting me to speak here today. Largely I want to talk to you about how digital finance can be a powerful force for good, and why is digital finance important? Because of a few reasons, really. Because it removes distances and reduces costs exponentially. So if you compare the cost of even 5 voice calls and a ping on the server from a smartphone or a feature phone to the cost of actually sending a bank relationship manager over to meet a customer, it's very clear that this is perhaps the only way to democratize access to financial services and really unleash the power of finance. In particular, I also want to talk about what are the big enablers in the Kaleidofin journey. Some of them are India's TAC, the mobile telephony revolution, and really, the universalization of banking infrastructure. So, how does all of this enable Kaleidofin, India's first neobank, for the informal sector to propel customers towards their goals by providing personalized finance to every last mile customer? So, what is really the problem that we are trying to solve? We believe that the problem is that more than 600 million people in India, typically earning between $2 and $5 per day and working in the informal sector, have just little to no access to formal financial services that are suitable for them, that are right for them. This is because, number one, financial planning and advice, that's actually, if you think about it, most required for this customer, is just not available. Secondly, our customers' jobs offer no social security, no sick leave, no pensions. And, with the Uberization of business models, this is now not just the case in India, but for more and more people, even in developed countries like America. Thirdly, customers are remote and difficult to reach. And by remote, I don't just mean physically hard to access. I'm also talking about things like language. For example, in India, we have 25 different languages, but 99% of the apps are in English. There are a few apps in Hindi and almost none in other languages. So how do you even give access to technology, to finance, when you're not speaking the customer's language and making this customer remote? Clearly a problem to be solved. And lastly, the big banks, asset managers, insurance companies have really designed always products for the privileged. And, we're seeing today in COVID times, with the impact of the pandemic, how disproportionately devastating this crisis has been to informal sector customers. We did some preliminary primary research, and we saw that in the first 6 weeks, post the crisis, which actually hit India around the end of March, we saw that 94% of customers who worked in the informal sector did not have any paid work at all. And overall consumption of more nutritious items like cereal, vegetables, eggs, milk, meat was cut down drastically. More than 50% of customers had actually withdrawn and used up all liquid savings, and about 10-15% had even taken on new informal debt at egregious terms from moneylenders and pawnbrokers. So, what is really required now? What our customers are saying to us is that we need digital payments now. We need emergency credit lines now, and in some sense, we also need to save for our future goals for a rainy day. So, how do we provide and answer our customers' most urgent demands? We believe that actually digital transformation provides some of the very important answers, and this is how we believe that digital finance can be a powerful force for good. There are some green shoots that I also want to talk about. One of the things that the COVID crisis actually did was actually helped customers and institutions leapfrog. So over 100 million customers over the last 4 or 5 months were reached out to remotely. Remote customer engagement has now become the norm. And our customers who used to be dependent on somebody visiting them, a field officer visiting them once a month, are now starting to use digital payments from their smartphones. And a lot of customers, even with feature phones, are getting set up with digital payments. Informal sector customers are also for the first time being underwritten using ML-based credit models. For example, like Chi-Score that Kaleidofin provides. And customized digital savings are being collected to help customers save for a rainy day. Interestingly, what we found was that in Kaleidofin's digital savings product, where digital payment mandates were set up, the regular customers actually continued to save because of that digital payment infrastructure that Kaleidofin had provided. But now, how can we scale this all up? Overall, we can see that this impact of the crisis could have been handled much better had the households actually had the right mix of savings, protection, and liquidity solutions to plan their lives and to handle the shocks and really take advantage of opportunities. Every human being is born with precious human capital, but the lack of access to these tools is a significant impediment to them realizing their dreams and potential. So, how do we solve this problem at the level of every customer? One big change we made is that we moved from manufacturer-driven products to financial solutions that actually solve for people's goals. So imagine if you were to walk in to buy a car, but you were sold, a steering wheel, a gearbox, wheels, seats separately. Well, that's exactly how we treat customers in the mass market today. Each financial product manufacturer, banks, asset managers, insurers all go about selling bank accounts, loans, funds, and insurance policies separately. Can you imagine how unfriendly that is? This is one customer, one life, one goal. And therefore, what we really should be doing is to carefully combine savings, credit, and insurance in exactly the right proportions to personalize and deliver a financial solution that actually makes the customer's goals a reality. So, how do we solve this problem at scale for everyone? So, Kaleidofin reaches out to customers actually at their doorstep. It could be remotely because we actually have built the app in the customer's language. The first thing we do is that we assess the financial health and goals of a customer. These are, when I say goals, I mean real life goals of a customer. We use data from credit bureaus, from savings transaction data, and demographic data that's available. We then recommend a personalized financial solution that can be executed completely in local language and importantly also on a feature phone. So what happens is that the customer is spoken to in their language, either through automated voice or through a real call center call, and the burden of selection of financial products is taken away, and instead the customer focuses on what they truly want to think about, which is their life goals. Nobody is really interested in posting on Facebook or TikTok to say, hey, you know what, I bought an insurance policy today. People are thinking about, okay, did my daughter get to college? And the question is, how can we pull this off even in the remotest village in India? This can only be done if the railroads are in place. And I have to say that, Kaleidofin has immensely benefited from the railroad and the infrastructure that's been set up in India. So what are the important enablers? So one, everyone has a unique ID that authenticates themselves individually. Over 1 billion Indians have been issued an Aadhaar ID over the last 6 years. And we have been moving towards rapid universalization of bank accounts. Almost every adult now has a working bank account, and greater than 300 million new bank accounts were opened over the last 5 years. Everyone has a phone now. It may be a feature phone, and the cost of data has become very, very cheap. So near universal unique ID plus payments infrastructure plus banking plus mobile access really brings the customer much, much closer to us. India Stack is a set of APIs that allows any company, big or small, to utilize this digital infrastructure to solve India's hard problems towards presenceless, paperless, and cashless delivery. But the question is this infrastructure enough? This infrastructure clearly has not been enough. We see that accounts have been set up, but there has been huge dormancy. There are very limited payment transactions, and there is a risk that customers may even move out of the system. On top of India Stack, therefore, what we built as Kaleidofin was a financial solutions layer which understands the customer's life goals and their current financial health. And voila, you can suddenly make financial planning and wealth management accessible to everyone, to the customer who works in the informal sector where it's needed the most, at a very cheap cost. To give you a sense, we can actually make this service available at a cost of as little as 20 to 30 cents per month. So let me explain how a financial solution works in real life. Meet one of our customers, Lakshmi. She is a 33-year-old housewife and dairy farmer from Bihar in India. She has a unique Aadhaar ID. She has a bank account and she has a feature phone. So the Kaleidofin app is able to set up her KYC and payment instructions using the above infrastructure and then do the important job of actually assessing her financial health and her real life goals, and then recommend a personalized financial solution. So back to Lakshmi. What she really wants to do is she wants her daughter to become a doctor, and she'd like to save about $2,000 towards medical school fees in 5 years. Now, this is not an easy journey for Lakshmi. At the baseline, Kaleidofin chooses an investment that provides safe and stable returns, in which she contributes about $20 per month. There is no fear of loss because the investment is appropriate for her persona, for her life goal. And more importantly, we take the burden of choice away from her. Today in India, there are almost 1700 plus different mutual fund schemes around. How would the customer even know what to choose? Typically, the customer ends up making a bad choice because this process has not been run properly. Again, back to Lakshmi. What happens is in her life, every monsoon, and we're going through a really heavy monsoon right now, Lakshmi's thatched roof usually leaks. This costs money, and she can now handle this via access to an affordable secured loan. The secured loan is actually secured against her savings, and therefore the rate of interest is also cheaper. And just in case either Lakshmi or her husband either have an accident or die or get hospitalized, the entire $2,000 is available to her and her daughter today, so that Lakshmi's life goals of sending her daughter to medical school still get realized. In this way, what Kaleidofin is really doing is providing a personalized solution for Lakshmi that really helps her navigate towards her goals with certainty. Imagine 600 million Lakshmis all over India who we can reach out through via MFIs, NGOs, banking agents. This is how we will make 600 million customer goals a reality using the power of finance. Imagine 2 billion people all over the world working in the informal sector. We can make their goals a reality using the power of finance in this way. The COVID crisis also shows us more than ever before that financial planning is an imperative for customers in the informal economy. And Kaleidofin today reaches out to almost 8 million customers. And in the last 12 months alone, over 100,000 customers are either actively saving towards their goals or borrowing towards them. The target goal amount that these customers are looking to achieve is almost $20 million. And each of them have, on average, saved about $120 till date. We actually find that women plan better. Over 97% of our customers are women. And if you think about it, every one of these customers and their goals actually represents a micro SDG, right? What I mean by micro SDG is that when you look at sustainable development goals, it's really an addition of the goals of everybody in this world. We want to make sure that they are saving for their education, for emergencies, for better homes, so that they can actually have a decent life. Financial planning for every customer actually makes the SDGs a reality, not just in aggregate, but actually at the level of every person. Good and suitable finance is a necessary catalyst to happen. I believe that if every one of these customers is provided the right financial advice and an easy way to execute this, then digital finance truly becomes a force for good. So every person can live a life with dignity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very inspiring. And I think we have a little bit of time for questions, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
I'm just gonna check here. I got a question here from live at the lab, and that was from one of the Danish fintechs asking me, and a little bit off topic, but I'll ask it anyway, because they're trying to see to which market they might be entering in Asia, and they're looking towards India. What would be your good advice for Nordic fintech companies looking towards entering the Indian market?
I think the open banking stack that's been built in Europe and Nordic fintech countries is definitely something that we need in India. So I think we need more players working in that space, and would be a welcome addition to all the players that are available in India. I would say India also is a market where analytics, credit intelligence solutions are frankly not really that easily available, especially for a customer who's working in the informal sector. So I think even fintechs that are offering intelligence, financial intelligence services would be very much in demand.
Thank you. So I actually have one question here from Morten Nielsen, and that is, what tech stack do you use to deliver the services?
Yeah, so our tech stack is really built on two different types of interfaces. One is an assisted interface because some of our customers actually require hand holding and assistance, especially at the point of entry. So we've made that possible, and that's a big step forward, because I would say at least 200-300 million customers would get excluded simply because an assisted interface is not available. So we've developed that so that, let's say for example, you have a neighbor who is much more digitally confident and much more used to smartphones, has done digital payments before. That person could actually help you and assist you in making sure your KYC and payment instructions are set up, and then take you through the financial health planning journey. So we have a set of Kaleido assists who are some of our smartest, most entrepreneurial customers who actually use the Kaleido Assist app. We have our own proprietary financial health, KYC, and payment setup engine that we use. This proprietary tech actually helps us set up payments even for feature phone customers. And on top of that, we have an analytics engine which also helps us predict exactly the right investment, exactly the right insurance, also the right type of loan product, and what is the maximum credit you can take. So those are, broadly speaking, the three layers. And the two types of interfaces are assisted and direct, which you know about already.
All right. So just a finishing question here from Siv Cohn. How are you coping with the vast increase of fraud as a result of the fast-growing mobile payments and banking?
Great question. With our customers, it's important to be careful with aspects like fraud. One of the features that we included very early in the game is a video KYC features, which ensured that one, the salient points of what you're really signing up to when you enter into a financial solution are made available to you in your own language very easily. And it's there on the screen. You can also hear it if you want. The second thing we did was, actually have a live video of that person being recorded when the customer first enters your system to transact. And that has actually been very useful because it really reduces the chance of identity theft, fraud a lot. And you have a live video that you can prove was taken at exactly that time, at the time of the sale. I also think that there is a little bit of a role for financial education and financial literacy, especially because smartphones technology is new to many people. So what is the significance of a PIN? What is the meaning of I accept? has to be explained better. And I think, some public awareness campaigns around this aspect also would be very helpful to combat fraud.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm afraid we could keep talking. I'm afraid we are a little bit out of time here. Thank you so much for joining. It was very, very informative and inspiring. So thank you so much for giving us those insights around Kaleidofin and the Indian fintech market. In a few minutes, we will move on, but thank you very much.